Hey guys, Christian here. Today we got the Lexus RZ 300e Premium, and let's get into the specs right away. MSRP is $55,350, and this only has one single upgrade. This has 201 horsepower, 196.4 torque, yeah, very exact, which gets 0 to 60 in 7.8 seconds. This has about a 73 kilowatt hour battery, and this gets you about 266 miles of range. And the weight on this is under 4,300 pounds, which is pretty light for an electric SUV. So getting onto the whole outside of the car, kind of want to just cover the whole car. Again, this is the Lexus RZ, kind of a newer lineup. It's basically like a Lexus RX, but it's basically just full electric in case you're wondering. But getting onto the outside, all black, basically what they call Caviar. It does have a lot of metallic flake to it. I will mention, some cars have a bit less. This one has a lot of metallic flake for sure. The wheels, we have the 18-inch wheels on this. Again, not my favorite wheels, but again, I guess if it's the car well, I guess you could always swap them out for other 18-inch wheels just to keep that same MPG. And then for this, we actually have the charger here. So you actually just press this here, it'll open up and you can just charge it there if you ever need to, either at home or obviously the faster charging stations. So before I continue with the front, I kind of want to just mention, so this, if you actually look up the 10 most fuel efficient cars, especially even SUVs, this is definitely in the top 10 cars. It's actually number 8, so up with the Lucids, the Teslas and everything. It kind of means that Lexus really got it right with the whole efficiency and everything of the car. And again, for the size and everything, being an SUV, a little bit more harder to have a higher MPG, but they definitely did it. On the front side as well, we have the headlights, LEDs, just their standard, kind of looking like L or like a Nike symbol, as I always mention. But it just looks good and everything. Whole front is like very like smooth. We don't actually see that much like of a space for like the air to go in. We obviously don't have any radiators or anything that needs to be cooled down. The Lexus symbol in the center, you could also get that glowing or basically highlighted in case you want that. But overall, just simple front design, kind of similar to the RX model. You, I guess, have to take a second look to make sure it is or not. But again, just standard looking front car. So being an electric vehicle, usually most cars usually have a frunk, of course, as they call them. But opening this up, you actually be kind of surprised. So we do have, you might open this up real quickly. You might think there's actually a motor in there or an engine to be exact. But overall, you actually have you have the computers and everything. You actually have some of the battery up here in the front and you see the motor all the way down there, which is really interesting. Again, most electric cars do have a frunk or a tiny frunk or something. This definitely has like a lot of the things they just stored up front, which is really interesting. Makes me wonder if this was always the plan. Was it supposed to be like based on a different model, like let's just say an engine, and then they just pushed and mashed everything up in here? But again, very interesting how this looks. So getting on to the backside, I want to start from the front. I actually want to mention the Caviars. I know this is actually kind of more like the spoiler. There's like a little spoiler on this side and on the other side, which is really cool. Again, you don't really see this on any cars. It usually just has one big spoiler or a built-in one like the one we have here. Right below that, we have the whole tail light. So LED all across, just a nice red against the black. And then Lexus symbol right there. We have actually the model, which is down there, the RZ 300e. Again, being the most base model, and this is basically the cheapest you can get for our RZ. Basically has no options again, besides some puddle lights that we'll see later. And the whole bottom, just very standard. Can't really, there's not much to say. I guess we also do have like these little holes here. They're actually fake, so no air actually goes in there. But to open up the trunk, I will say, you would think most cars usually just like press on it and it goes up on its own. You will have to like press on it and actually like push it up a little bit. But it's not that heavy, and again, it has hydraulics to assist you. But in the trunk, with the seats up, it has about 35 cubic feet of space. Really good. And then if you bring this up, I'm assuming you move this cable first and put this on the floor real quick. But under this Lexus carpet, you actually see we have some space right here. It's actually pretty like decently deep. Some space over here. And then all the way back there, you actually have a little bit more space in case you want to like hide some stuff you might need occasionally. You can also lift this over here, but I'll just leave it like this. But actually, let me show you a little bit. But I guess you get access to some things you can store in there, but not much space. So let me put this back real quick, close this up. And as you can see, just very standard size. And then getting into the trunk challenge, of course. So I'm in the trunk now, as you can see. I just want to mention two quick things. You actually have hooks on both sides, so maybe like groceries or anything you want to hang on both sides. It does mention 4 kilograms max weight. And then on this side, you also have like a charger in case you might need that as well too. So the same way how we have to bring up the trunk manually, we also have to kind of like bring it down. It does have the hydraulics, which kind of I guess assists you, but again, you gotta bring it down and close it. So to get inside the car, you just simply have the key in your pocket, get in, again, really easy access. Though you can get the digital key also as an option, but this one doesn't have it. But open up the door real quick. I actually want to show off this door kind of like panel. The reason being, it's actually the interior that they call macadamia and thunderstorm, and I guess they consider thunderstorms like a dark blue, almost like a black. But again, kind of just blends in with the car well. But going on to like the seat controls, we actually have 3 ways. So we have like the bottom, so you can adjust that, of course, going forward and backward, or just the front lip, the backrest. And then we also have the lumbar, of course, to adjust the lumbar wherever you might need that on your back. But at this point, we'll get inside the car and I'll show off all the features that we get inside this. So going inside, we have the steering wheel right in front of us. So two quick things I really want to mention on the wheel is the feeling of this. It's really interesting. It almost feels like a silicone feel to it, and it kind of reminds me of like Alcantara at the same time, even though it doesn't really have like any Alcantara on it. But again, really like smooth feel to it. I really like how it feels when you're like gripping onto it, and it has a really good grip to it too. And the other thing is the paddle shifters, which is really interesting, especially on an electric vehicle. And again, very standard controls, music on the left, right side is self-driving. And behind that, we have a nice big screen, which is really helpful, again, in case you might need anything. And you can actually see the battery's at 96%, 225 miles of range. But that's also, I think, considering like my driving. So I might have a lead foot while I'm driving. So getting onto the screen between you and your passenger, you have a really big 14-inch display, again, really useful. Has wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. I have it on Android Auto right now. And then the really nice thing is you also always have your AC controls, which are mostly touch, which there is a bit more physical. But again, you do have the dual climate control. You can have it on both sides. Right below that, you have 3 USB-C ports, 2 for charging and 1 more for in case you want to do like wired Apple CarPlay or wired Android Auto. And then below that, we also have the wireless charger. So you can just pop your phone there and just simply just charge it, which is really nice. And it's standard too, which is great option to have. 2 cup holders, and I will also have my big 40-ounce hydro flask. So let's see if it fits. It simply just doesn't fit, so you just have to have it on your passenger side, which is good to know. The print though is really interesting. I will say, it does say push, but when I first got the car, I was kind of just trying to turn it, kind of like other vehicles sometimes have it, like a knob. But you have to push it down, and then you have to turn it, which is really interesting how that works. But again, just in case you're wondering, you have like your brake hold, you have the traction control, and then of course a parking brake. And I will say, I know the car is like a thunderstorm color, but I do like the macadamia color here in the center, which is just a little like a contrast inside the car. And then the final thing is, there is no glove box on this. You have like your storage right below here. So below their Prindle and everything, you kind of have like, well, right now, I guess it's all the paperwork. But in case you're wondering, that's just what it looks like. And I will mention, before we go to the back, the seats are actually really comfy. I don't know. I actually like how these feel. They feel like, they look standard, but they're actually pretty comfy. I will just quickly mention that. So getting into the back seats, already in my driver's side position. So as I get in, again, good headspace and everything. And I will say the knee room is actually really, really good. As you can see, like, I don't have to like close my hand. It's like I could open up my hand a bit, and my knee room is just really, really good in back here. I didn't expect this much, again, for being an electric vehicle. Most of them are usually a lot more compact. And the car is a bit like small looking on the outside, but I definitely am super spacious, and my legroom and everything. There is like, it's weird. There is, I don't think this is a transmission well, but there is like the tiniest little hump in the middle. But I will just mention it's really small, so it's not really gonna be an annoyance in case you have like 3 adult passengers. And then on the center, you have like your AC controls, just very standard. 2 USB-C ports in case you gotta charge your iPhone or whatever might need a charge. At the bottom, you do have a 120 volt, 100 watt charger. It doesn't have grounding, so I will mention that. You could probably plug in most laptops, but some laptops you might not be able to. I guess that would actually allow you to charge any Apple laptop. So just in case you're wondering, you do get an armrest here in the center. So just bring this down, 2 cup holders, or of course just rest for you, or again, some space between you and your passenger, in case you guys might have gotten into a fight for whatever reason. You do have 2 lights up here. You just simply press on them. It's kind of nice. I don't know why I like playing with these lights sometimes. But again, overall, there is no panoramic on this one. But you can add it for about, it's like an expensive upgrade, but it comes with tons of things. It's like 4K, you would have got the full panoramic, you get like the digital key and a couple other upgrades to kind of just quickly flash them up in case you're wondering. But again, even this being no upgrades, again, it's really spacious. I think most electric vehicles, we always think like, oh, they're really small, compact, not much space sometimes. But this, again, knee room back here, if I was here for like a long trip, I'd be completely fine. So getting onto the drive for this, again, full electric vehicle. And I will mention, even though this has only about like 200 horsepower, the torque, of course, obviously makes a big difference in electric vehicles. But again, 200 horsepower, it definitely feels like it has a lot more power, of course, with just how quickly it accelerates. So it kind of accelerates quickly. I didn't tell my cameraman there, but kind of just shows that it has like a nice oomph to it for sure. How this thing drives as well too, like the smoothness. I will say, I honestly thought it kind of felt like an air suspension a bit, just the way it drives, but I know it has like the usual McPherson struts and like double wishbone suspension. But again, drives very smooth for what it is, and I will say the insulation on this car was really well done, I will say. Like even on freeway speeds, driving at, of course, say freeway speeds or maybe sometimes a little above that, it drives very, very like quietly and like very smoothly. And again, I even thought this was like an air suspension. The sound system on this is standard. Again, it doesn't have like the upgraded Mark Levinson sound system. But again, even being this standard one with, of course, really good like insulation in the car, it just sounds really good. Really can't like complain. If you really want to, you can upgrade it, of course. A little bit pricey, but I think it might be worth the upgrade if you want, of course, better sound. And then as usual, I want to just mention the safety system. So again, this has a Lexus Safe System Plus 3.0. Kind of sounds very similar to the Toyota one, and again has so many different features. I'll quickly just flash them up. I know it's a lot. I don't know if you guys like this. Let me know if you guys want to keep doing this, or if not, I can just take this down. Alright guys, that completes the review for the Lexus RZ 300e Premium. Again, with almost no options. Again, in case you're wondering how this looks like, no options are about like 55,000. But again, if you made it this far, again, thank you as always for watching. I think we're almost at like 2,800 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, I will quickly mention, I think only 1% of you are subscribed. So if we could even get that to 10%, that'd be amazing. But if not, again, you're more than welcome to keep watching. But again, until next time.